Hi, God bless y'all. This is a video on Jeremiah. I'll be sharing some interesting things in this Bible study. It'll be a little different compared to the shorts, but it'll be the same content. So let's get started. Hi, y'all. This is the introduction to Jeremiah. The prophet lived in the final days of the crumbling nation of Judah. He was appropriately the last prophet that God sent to preach to the southern kingdom, which comprised of the tribes of Judah and Benjamin. God had repeatedly warned Israel to stop their idolatrous behavior, but they wouldn't listen. So he tore the 12 tribes asunder, sending the 10 northern tribes into captivity at the hands of the Syrians. Then God sent Jeremiah to give Judah the last warning before God would cast them out of the land, decimating the nation and sending them into captivity in the pagan kingdom of Babylon. So Jeremiah, as a faithful, God-fearing man, he was called to tell Judah that because of their unrepentant sin, their God had turned against them and was now prepared to remove them from the land at the hands of the pagan king. Question number 1. What was Jeremiah's age when God called him to ministry? Jeremiah's ministry was difficult because the message God gave him to speak was very unpopular and offensive to many who heard it. When Jeremiah wept in frustration and despair, he is nicknamed the Weeping Prophet. God was present and faithful, providing him with strength and wisdom. From Jeremiah's perspective, one of the challenges was that he was too young to do what God asked him to do. Question number 2. What's the difference between Jeremiah being set apart and his call to ministry? The book of Jeremiah makes a distinction between God set apart Jeremiah's life for ministry and when he made Jeremiah aware of it. God set apart Jeremiah in the womb. Let's read Jeremiah 1:5. And I will be reading King James. And it says, "Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee. And I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations." The question many people ask is, how old was Jeremiah when God made him aware of his call? So let's keep further investigating on this topic. Question number 3. What does the biblical text reveal about Jeremiah's age when God called him? The book of Jeremiah doesn't precisely state how old he was when God called him. However, some scholars believe in the biblical text may provide a hint that can lead readers to make an informal estimate. The clue is found in Jeremiah's initial response when God calls Jeremiah to ministry. The prophet initially protests, arguing that he was too inexperienced. Let's read Jeremiah 1:6. "Then said I, Ah, Lord God, behold, I cannot speak, for I am a child." These are the words of Jeremiah. Like the prophet Moses centuries before him, Jeremiah initially responds to God's call by pointing out that he wasn't a good speaker. Some suggest that Jeremiah was afraid of public speaking. Others wonder if he didn't know how to speak the languages of the nations, especially since at that time it was the southern kingdom of Judah. Judah was like, there was like other nations that were neighboring nations of Judah. We had the Babylonians that speak a different language, that had probably even different dialects mixed in those different nations. So Jeremiah was like, wait, hold up, probably I don't even know these languages. How am I supposed to speak my language when they won't even understand me? So that might be some of the questions that Jeremiah was probably asking himself, or asking God, like, at least asking in himself, and like God knowing his intentions, his heart, God decides to just keep calling him to be a prophet. So that was verse 5. And unlike Moses, who was 40 years old when God called him to ministry, the basis of Jeremiah's opinion is that he is too young. So we can read a little bit on Moses before we head on to the next question. So join me to go to Exodus chapter 4 verse 10. This is Moses' response to God when he was also trying to not follow God's will because he was afraid. This was Moses in verse 10. And Moses said unto the Lord, "Oh my Lord, I am not eloquent, neither heretofore, nor since thou hast spoken unto thy servant, but I am slow of speech and of slow tongue." See, Moses' response was practically the same thing, going in the same direction, telling God, look, I'm afraid of public speaking. Pretty much Moses' words were like, I'm afraid. I do not want to go speak. I don't want to confront the Pharaoh, because he initially was raised in the Pharaoh's palace. So he was like, man, I do not want to go back there. I'd rather stay here. But God insists that he should, because he was called. God knows whenever he calls someone that it's their time. God understands that they're going to be prepared in the way. Probably at the moment they're scared and afraid, but as a process, as they keep walking with God, they will be formed. So that's what God was telling them, was as Jeremiah and Moses, God was like, okay, I'll go join y'all, but please speak on my word, because they were practically prophets, people that were giving out like this prophetic voice. What is prophetic? It was like God's voice through a human, through a person. So that's why they were called prophets. Question number 4. How old was Jeremiah when God called him to be a prophet? The prophet Jeremiah is one of the most fascinating people in the Bible. The book named after him contains moments of hope in the midst of tremendous struggle and despair. People often find Jeremiah's message and personality intriguing, but it's his call that stands out to many readers. Some Bible commentators speculate that Jeremiah was in his early 20s when God called him to be a prophet. However, most scholars say that there isn't enough detail in the book to know for sure. A few estimate that Jeremiah was a teenager, while the Hebrew word may suggest someone even younger. With this question, we will be, going in deeper with this question, and we'll see other commentators in the following episodes of this series. So please stay updated, and please like, subscribe, and comment, and please share to others, so those who love biblical studies, they will be able to come and learn about new information on Jeremiah as we grow together as a community. So please, thank you for everything. Thank you, and God bless.